we'll move on to our next topic. Hey, guy, if you're here, you're new, hit that follow button. Make sure notifications are on so you know I'm going live. If you just stumble upon the channel, we have conversations like this all the time on all kinds of different topics. So expect for social and chat. For our social media, hit us up on Twitter, Discord, TikTok, and YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah. So and of course, Discord is where we have all our conversations. So we want you to be a part of Discord. Jump on in. We'd love to have you there. I really liked this conversation where it went. It was like one of our more respectful conversations, but like,
Yeah,
we were
shocking.
just, it was a good exchange of ideas, and we're just like, I don't know, I think it just worked well with everyone here. So just compliments to you all.
That same energy is not going to be in this next topic, though.
I'll probably not.
Just letting that be known.
Okay. Yeah. So,
all in it.
Let's go.
Look. There's sometimes we got to come together so that when we pull apart, it's all the sweeter and more explosive, right? It means something when you're arguing with people that you like, right? Rather than people that you don't give a shit about, all right? So,
contrast.
So here we go. Comedians Tiffany Haddish and Aria Spears are being accused of grooming 2 children.
Was that joke? I'm sorry. I know I cut you off early with the pronunciation.
Did I say something? I'm sorry.
I thought you. Is
it Haddish? Oh, you know what?
Haddish.
I'm thinking
Tiffany
of
Haddish.
Is it Haddish? Okay. I'm thinking of this because I feel like there's like a Muslim word.
Like Habib?
Hadith. I don't know. There's a Muslim word that like sounds.
Hadith.
Maybe I
don't know. Doing juicy smoothie. I just had to find out.
Juicy smoothie, yeah.
Haddish. No, you're right. It's Haddish.
Let's go.
I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, it's fine.
Okay, that's okay.
I'll take the L.
PC enough community gave him the wrong information. Don't worry.
Haddish. Okay, no, that's and this. Now that I think about it, that's how people pronounce it on TV. Okay, all right. I'll start again. Stop laughing, Smooth. I
can't. like I was gonna let it ride and just start laughing, but then Bam actually stopped the crazy.
All right. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Oh my god. Don't worry, Prime. You got this. Compose yourself, Prime, and get it done.
Smooth needs to compose himself. I'm good.
Mute yourself, Smooth. This is insane. Just let black people down.
All right. Here we go.
Not my mother, not my ancestors.
Comedians Tiffany Haddish and Aria Spears are being accused of grooming 2 children. One of the alleged victims is now an adult woman and says that her and her younger brother were put in sexually charged skits. One skit featured Haddish teaching the girl how to mimic fellatio. The other skit features Spears as a pedophile uncle being left in charge of a young boy. Do you think that this amounts to grooming? Are these simply very poorly advised attempts at comedy? Could these same concepts have been done in a way that is more acceptable? So I have one of the skits and like with Aria Spears and Haddish Tiffany is also in the skit as well, but it's mostly Aria Spears and this like kid who's like 7, I think, in the clip. It's not great. It's not great. I won't put that in Twitch chat. I'm not gonna put that in, and don't fucking put it in my Twitch chat. Like, don't do that. I'm not fucking around. Don't do that. You can find it online. You can. You know what I'll do? I'll put the. I'll try to put an article in the Discord. And so if you haven't seen the skit, if you can, trigger warning on it. You really might not like what you see. But like, yeah, we'll try to move on from there. Okay. So yeah, it's a thing. So let's go one at a time for intros. Bam, what did you think?
Yeah, the skit's not the least bit funny. Even if I mean, I get people like edgy humor. Well, I guess it is always subjective. Someone with edgy enough humor could have found it funny. I didn't. Um, does it reach the category of grooming? I'm gonna say no. It's it was a little weird, but it's literally documented. My biggest issue is the fact that they didn't tell the parents exactly what they were filming. I think that's disgusting. I think that's the biggest issue with it. But the way that people, when I first seen like the first headline on Twitter, and I seen the way that people were talking about it, I was expecting very graphic, very I guess more explicit things than what we got. Even though what we got was disgusting, but yeah, I don't think it fits the category of grooming personally. But
I've put the article in my Discord. It's in the VC chat section. If you haven't seen, you can go in there, and then the article itself links to the video, right? So I'm trying to avoid getting my fucking server nuked. Like I don't know how like moderation is gonna treat this thing. So you can go there into the Discord, go to the VC chat section, and you can find it. Haven't seen it yet. It's in the VC chat sections where I post. Okay. Let's go to Isle.
I think grooming did occur, but it wasn't Tiffany Haddish or Aries Spears. It was the children's parents. Because as the guardians of those children, they should have been in the room when they was filming. And then if something was going on, the parents should have been actually adults in the situation to keep their kids out of these sexual scenes. Like, you know, if you're actually filming a scene where your daughter is being shown how to suck someone off on camera, then maybe you should probably not let them do that, you know. And so I think that the fact that, you know, her parents weren't there to actually not let her do that, or God forbid they let her do that because they needed a child actor for whatever reason, that she didn't take her child aside and put it into a context where she can understand it and actually healthily internalize what she was doing and set aside this art from, you know, real life, and so it wouldn't psychologically damage her. I think that's a failing of the parents, and I think that was wrong. Shame on those parents for doing that, because, you know, obviously these now adults are feeling psychologically damaged for the things that they did because their parents were so negligent in letting this happen to them. You know, art is art, and I think that I don't think that, you know, Tiffany Haddish or Aries Spears should be blamed for that, because they're comedians doing their passion, doing their artwork, and, you know, you have the right to watch them or the right not to watch them. But, you know, if you're a parent of a child actor, you should be very invested in what your child is acting in. That's what I'll say so far.
As usual, Al and I, it's gonna have the fucking
Because
anyway.
I'm right, and the PCNF community needs to be put in its place. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's go to Smooth.
So like I quickly did a quick Google search, and I'm glad that Al was stalling for me. I appreciate that. Even like I was looking at movies where they have done those type of scenes before. Like, this is not something that hasn't been a joke before. This was the most poorly executed jokes ever. Like, what they did had been done before. It's just they did it terribly. They did it so bad. There's no other way you could see it besides grooming and being sick. Now, do I personally think it was grooming? No. I don't think they went in there with the intent like, yo, we're gonna groom these kids and then we're gonna be little pedophiles or whatever, little monsters, whatever. No, I do not feel like or think that there was that their intent at all. I even after one of his comedy shows, I've had a pleasure of meeting whatchamacallit, Spears. I'm not Haddish. That's his name, right? Right?
Spears, yeah.
Yeah, Spears, yeah.
He didn't want to pull Prime. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of meet afterward. You know what I'm saying? He's a cool dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't get that like vibe from him. You know what I'm saying? That he was like, yo, I'm in the industry and I'm on this type of time. Like other people, you can just tell. You can just tell, like, okay, you on some other shit. you know. But I just really feel like this was the worst poorly executed jokes ever, and that they were being extorted, and they're still being extorted because there's no reason for this to be in the public. Clearly, they watched it and went, "Yo, this is trash. This should not come out." It looks old. It honestly looks real old. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't look like it's new. It looks old. I think even by their complaints that this is old. So I'm like, why do y'all think that this is something that they should be punished now for? They clearly looked back on it and went, "Nah, you know what? This is a bad idea. We should not do this. This doesn't look right. Let's put it underneath the jail, right? Or whatever." And they buried it, and it came back. They dug it up just to get money.
This is like 6 years old, like 7 years old.
Yeah. Okay, I thought it was a years old. Like I'm like, yo, like come on, and it's not the first time somebody's made a joke trying to teach little kids how to suck dick. I think it was American Pie, actually.
Yeah, let's go to what kind.
So I agree with one of Isle's points on this one. It seems like the parents failing the children yet again, like it happened with Michael Jackson. I don't believe he did anything wrong, but these parents were fine letting their kids go out there, hoping at some point they may get a bag. So when it didn't work out for them, now all of a sudden people want to sue. These parents should have been informed, or should have pressed for information as to what their kids were going to be doing in this instance. These kids don't know any better. Now, the skit itself was an absolute poor taste. Like, this is Mr. Girl levels of wrongness. Should never have happened, should never get put out. Like, I'm glad they buried it, but I don't think they were being groomed. Like, unless Tiffany and Aries kept up with these kids and maybe had a relationship with them at some point, took them out for ice cream or something, but they were definitely violated.
Okay, let's go to Fanatic, please.
I don't know what's going on with everybody being so on point today, but I love y'all. Like, legit. This is crazy. Yeah, I agree with most of what's being said. I realized I thought there was going to be really negative energy, but none of PrimeCayes' friends are here, so it's all people with actual brains. No crazy leftists. So yeah, we can all see this for the grooming that it is. And I think most of us would probably look at, like, you know, bringing children to drag shows and having them place dollars into scantily clad people, like, you know, that's grooming, right? We all see that, but it's just like leftists and psychos that can't. So there's not going to be a lot of crazy disagreement here. I do think that this was incredibly poor taste. I think it was one of the most gross things ever. I tried to show it to my friend because I was unaware of anything like this happening. I was trying to show it to my brother, actually. And he was like, I'm not watching this. Like, probably less than 45 seconds. Yeah, no, this is gross. I'm not watching this. I totally understood it because it was absolutely disgusting. I don't know what the freak they were thinking. I don't know if anybody has any evidence that the parents weren't informed about this, because parents be allowing their kids to do all sorts of nonsense. We know about Nickelodeon, where you had that one white dude who went to jail for a little bit, and he kept on having the obsession. No. It was that guy who had all the obsession with
Josh.
Yeah, that's it. The Snyder guy. Yeah, where he had the obsession with all the, like, little kids' feet and all the nonsense, and kept like writing all that stuff into the show. And then there was one guy who got convicted for pedophilia, and then immediately after getting out of prison, then they were just like, oh yeah, like, 'cause he did a very short stint because he was white, and then immediately they were just like, oh yeah, he can work back at Nick, but he just won't be working with the kids. But he was definitely working with the kids still. So these kind of things happen all the time, right? Look at freaking Full House. Did y'all not know that them niggas in that TV show were kissing them little girls in the mouth? They were 5 and 6 year olds being kissed in the mouth by these actors, right? And it's like, yo, you didn't have to kiss these kids in the lips. You could have easily just given them a hug, kissed them on the cheek. It would have still been believable. It's not an essential part of the culture to kiss these little girls in the mouth, but they did. Why? Because Hollywood is sick and they allow this kind of nonsense. So to me, it's hard for me to be so energetic towards Tiffany Haddish and freaking Aria Spears, who are incredibly funny comedians, and sit there and say, like, oh, you guys are disgusting groomers. Do I think it was poor taste? Absolutely. Do I think that they were grooming kids? Not necessarily. Do I think that it was bad and something that I would never allow my kids to do? Absolutely not. I mean, absolutely, yes. I don't think I would ever allow my kids to do it. It was a very disgusting skit. Do I want to label them as groomers? No. Do I think that was their intent? Absolutely not. And I think we need to keep this same energy to all the white folks that be allowing this same nonsense to be happening.
Okay. All right. So, a lot of things.
Don't disagree for no reason. The devil needs no advocate, Prime.
And
That's true.
The devil.
Everything I'm gonna.
Fine.
Everything I'm
Don't
going
need
to
to
say,
stand up for the PCNF community.
Everything I'm going to say. I
believe in.
Yeah,
okay, I'm just now
on.
watching this like in full for the first time. Yo, this is wild.
Oh, okay.
It's
right.
crazy. It's crazy.
So, look, all right, this is a side note because I'm just having trouble like figure out where I'm going to start. I'm gonna start with Fanatic. Fanatic. Okay, the Full House thing is interesting. Oh, and before I forget it, whatever you were talking about the Nickelodeon thing, if someone could like DM me like an article or something, or post an article, because I don't know what you guys are talking about. It sounds super interesting, but I've never heard of it. So if you guys, someone could find that for me, that'd be really appreciative. But for Full House, so me and my family, like we kiss each other on the lips. Like I kiss my my mother on the lips, I kiss my father on the lips. And I know this is super weird for some people. To this day, yeah, like I'll kiss my parents on the lips. It's like not a big deal for me. And I get what you mean that like maybe that could have been maybe, but I don't know. I think something like that within Full House, just kissing a person on the lips, it's only a big deal if you make it a big deal, right? Like it's like kissing.
These are not their parents, though. This isn't their family.
Yeah, I know it's not their family, right? But like, and if the kids had ever had any pushback against it, right? Like, I'm not comfortable with this. If the kids ever had any indication of that, then they should stop immediately, change it up, right?
Wait, can we stop there? Prime, a 5-year-old girl is not going to say to her parents who left her in the way where there's a director and these grown adults and there's authority and no one else is interjecting for them. They're not going to step up and say, you know, Mom, I really don't like this grown nigga kissing me in the mouth. That's not going to happen. That's the problem.
For themselves.
Never. And these kids, depending on the kids to step up and say, yeah, I don't like this, that's not real. We as adults got to say, yo, having a stranger or another adult that's not your family kiss you in the lips is absolutely inappropriate.
No,
that's grooming.
No, I don't think that's grooming. I think because I think the act itself, it could be, but like not in this context. Like they weren't doing it. The adults were like to get themselves off. No, like there's no evidence that they were doing it to get themselves off. They were they were imitating a family. They were acting like other people act, right? Like if what you're saying, if that's your standard, right, about the 5-year-olds, then they shouldn't have the 5-year-olds there. Period, right? Because 5-year-olds, but 5-year-olds can't advocate for themselves for anything. And there could be lots of other things, like in the context of long.
Wait, what?
Oh my god!
Wait.
Oh my god! Let me shut up. There are lots of things that keep happening in this long-running show that those kids could be uncomfortable with, and maybe they couldn't advocate for themselves. So to be on the safe side, right? So there's for no emotional trauma. Then you could say, well, then let's not include them. Period. Right? Let's only use like older teens who can speak their minds. If that's the case, but like I'm saying that the act of kissing a person on the lips, right? Even a stranger is not necessarily fucking grooming. That's too far.
No,
it's not okay.
He's right.
So people say that children can't advocate for themselves. What means specific that we know everyone in the world knows that conversation is specifically talking about sexually. Like a child can say whether they want ice cream or not.
Yeah.
But they can't. But you like. I agree with Fanatic 100%, which is the craziest thing for me to say. Nothing from the show changes if you decide that, like, oh, okay, we kiss on the cheek, or you give dad a hug before he tucks you in at night. Like,
right, but is it grooming?
I think it's inappropriate, and I think that it can potentially be grooming. I think you can put children in inappropriate situations.
Absolutely, and there's no way
specific.
Yeah, but there's no way that you're going to sit here and tell me that these little girls are going to like have in their brains, like, hey, look. In the show, and specifically only in the show, yes, they can kiss me, and so on and so forth. But in real life, no one besides mommy and daddy should ever kiss me, unless I'm an adult and have like they're not. I don't think I don't think that they're going to be able to like parse that. I think it's irrational to think that they would be able to parse that, right? So, like in that sense, then yeah, you're setting these kids up for like that kind of like gross like behavior for them to be exploited in that way.
And then you as a parent, by not saying anything, you're become complicit in making it okay. You become complicit in making it okay.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
You literally have to tell your child right from wrong. That's how your child knows not to do a lot of things. It's not just because, oh, that's just going to hurt me. No, most of the rules that they have and how they act are from what you've taught them and the mannerism they've seen from you.
Yeah,
so if
look
you're
at
silent
Biden.
on an issue, they're going to assume it is okay.
Absolutely. If you guys remember Joe Biden and the disgusting ways that he was sniffing and kissing and all that nonsense on all those little girls with their parents standing by and watching him do it, that was absolutely grooming. You'll never convince me otherwise. That was OD grooming. And I feel like we just don't keep that same energy when it comes to other folks. But that's what the freak it was. He was literally sitting there. Bro, it was too much, and you could see the discomfort, and the parents weren't saying anything, and that teaches those girls in those situations, okay, if somebody's doing something and I'm uncomfortable because they clearly were, I should shut up and not do anything because he's powerful and so on and so forth. You're setting these kids up for that kind of exploitation. It's gross as hell, but we don't hold white people to those standards. The only reason why we're having this conversation is because Aria Spears and Tiffany Haddish are not successful enough and they're black. That's the only reason why.
And boom.
True. So true.
I'm just gonna and the point of the lip kissing, we'll probably have to agree or disagree on this one because I think it's a cultural thing. And if you didn't grow up in that,
cultural.
Yes, there are lots of people, and there are a lot of other cultures where like it's just customary that you kiss people on the lips, and it's like not a big deal.
But Prime, like, I don't disagree with that. I've kissed my mother in the lips, right? Like I'm not saying that just like immediately if you kiss someone on the lips that you're instantly like a groomer or a sicko. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like doing that with non-family members and with young children and having them do that with like people that they're not entirely familiar with. I'm saying that that's a recipe for disaster. That's the problem.
I think having children, and like children acting roles, period, is a recipe for disaster, right? Which is the point I was trying to get at, is that it would actually be safer. And there are some actors who believe the same thing, right? That you don't have child actors because of all of the problems that can arise from that. That they can be put in all kinds of situations, right? Which, like even if the adults are well-meaning, that they can be traumatized from. And so that will be my counter to you. Like, okay, sure. Well, I can say maybe the 5-year-old can't advocate for themselves. Then let's not have them there in the first place, because and situations beyond this, right? Like if we went through like the long history of Full House and looked at those episodes, you're gonna find. I bet you're gonna find a lot of shit that you're like, that seems kind of weird. That seems kind of weird. Right? Who was there to advocate for that kid? Like, that seems kind of weird. So the best thing is to not have them, period. If that's the standard we're going to set. Put that out there. Okay.
Look, quick, can we stop? Let me just address that point really quickly. Okay. Right? Like, because if you ever show any problem with any specific exploitation, then you can overcorrect by saying, then let's just remove children from the equation altogether, while really not addressing what specific thing was harmful in this scenario, the reason why we would need to address anything. And I think that's what you're doing there, because sure, you can say children can advocate for themselves, and then maybe we should just avoid children being in the space at all. And I think that's a little reductive and kind of ridiculous. Or you can say in ways that children, that you specifically avoid check any remotely sexually charged situation in order to prevent children from being exploited. And I think that's healthy, reasonable, right? This other extreme just doesn't even seem well-founded.
No. It's not not well-founded. I mean, and I think you actually agree with me, because we can see the outcomes for child actors, right? Again, we can see how that tends to be fucking disastrous. There are like if you achieve any sort of success within your career as a child actor, then like the outcomes seem to be rough, right? Your chances are rough. Unless you have an extremely powerful support system, the chances are fucking rough. So that in itself is that reason for those traumatizing reasons. Like, let's talk to those child actors and see why, how they end up in those situations, right? And it's for a lot of the reasons that I'm saying now. But moving on. But I'm like, we can include them. So my argument is that yes, you actually can include them, but specifically the act that you were talking about, I don't think is a sexually charged thing. Like that, it doesn't have to be unless you make it that. It's an environment in which, like clearly this person is like, they get it. This person's supposed to be acting as their dad, right? And their dad kisses them. It's a thing, right? That's a thing that normal families do. And so to be put in the space where you're acting, right? Like, okay, well, I'll circle back around to this. Smooth, you want to jump in?
I'm just like, because if children, okay, they deserve, like, to say there should be no children in movie, like, we can't ever get like none of the like characters can.
I just said that we can have children.
Oh, okay. So we're walking. Okay, we're past. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Now we're back there. All right. The adults that are sick got to be rooted out. Like that's what needs to happen. We can't allow just, I guess I'll just address your point. Like for kissing kids on the mouth, right? During a scene, is that sexual? Like, not necessarily, no, but you can tell when certain things are just done just to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you necessarily like had to be that way. They could have easily, like somebody said earlier, they could have just kissed the kid on the forehead, or they could have just gave the kid a hug. It would have sufficed. It would have been the more normal thing. Like, most things
is the way I grew up, not normal. Kissing.
Yeah. No. Again, I'm not saying that it's problematic.
No. I'm talking Smooth.
No. Okay, so I'm saying most households, at least where I'm from, like most
where you're from,
aren't. And stuff I've been around, there nobody's like kissing. I'm not saying it's wrong.
A cultural thing.
I'm just saying it's not
Smooth, but don't argue that point. Argue even if it is culturally normal. Even if it's culturally normal for families to kiss other family members in the mouth, would it be problematic in media, like for the actors to be doing that to the kids?
Would it be problematic in media for the actors to be doing that to the kid? My whole thing is frequency, man. My whole thing is frequency. Like, you don't have to do it like 3-4 times an episode. That looks weird.
I don't know how frequently it was happening in an episode. We don't know that. The point is, Prime, because again, I'm not saying that even if it's culturally typical for parents to kiss children in the mouth, we know, again, it's not that it's necessarily grooming, and that it's potentially grooming, right? Do you think it's a far-fetched question? It's a far-fetched idea to be able to say that the children can take away from those experiences that it's okay for adults to kiss them in the mouth? Do you think that that's a possible takeaway from those children? From these 5-year-olds?
Well, I think... okay, so within the context of acting, you play pretend, right? You put yourself in disparate situations where you maybe uncomfortable situations, maybe like you're pretending that something traumatic happened to you. To even get yourself to cry, you like have to think about things that are sad. That I think within the context of acting, that it makes perfect sense that this would happen, right? Like,
I'm not saying that it's not sensible to the characters, right, or to the scene, because again, I was raised in a household where my mother kissed me in the mouth. My question is, I'm saying, do you think that the 5-year-olds are going to be adequately prepared to create this mental distinction? They can be. Do you think that it's really possible for 5-year-olds also not to be able to make the distinction between these actors in these scenes and to then think that this is normal and okay behavior for adults to do?
5-year-olds in like I have to ask you a question then, right? And because can you think that we can include 5-year-olds in a horror movie? Do you think that's something that can happen?
Yeah.
They take kids out of like really graphic scenes, like for that very reason.
No.
Absolutely.
You don't have to have graphic scenes. That part's not important, right? Like, the thing is, there is a threat. There's this guy. He's coming for you, right? And he's got a knife, and he's dangerous, and you gotta act scared, right? And he's big and he's scary, right? And and you're running through these halls, and then like I need you to cry, right? Like, and then no graphic scenes do they appear in, right? But can that child come through and say that like, oh, I felt unsafe, right? I had nightmares about it, right? Like
Sure.
This can
It's
happen.
possible, but the reason why this is way less likely, because when you look at like horror movies and things like that, again, like all of those scenes are one, significantly way more fantastical. Two, you have like a director and all these things around you that like literally make those scenes like almost impossible to have any sort of the weight that would be attached to a typical horror situation. Because like the reason why these things are typically horrific is because typically you're by yourself, so you feel particularly vulnerable and all of those things, and that's not present when these kids are actually shooting those scenes. However, the fact that the person is being kissed in the mouth is something that cannot be avoided. That's something that kid is actually experiencing, and that's something that is going to be like that behavior can be normalized, and then people could exploit that behavior and then end up like using that to kiss these kids in the mouth in other scenarios, which is why there's so much.
It's such a reach.
I don't think it's a reach.
It's a huge reach. Go ahead, Smooth. Ask me a question.
Yeah. So, all right. So if someone comes up to your child now and says, "Yo, we're gonna play a game. We're gonna play pretend," and your kid's been on set now, you know what I'm saying, "Oh, it's just like acting." You know what I'm saying? Like
this is a terrible.
No, but I'm saying the kid already has that. The kid already has that mindset where it's. I've done this before. We can play a game and we can role play.
Okay.
Like I do. You know what I'm saying? Like. You know what I'm saying? It's not a stretch. It's just then that adult is able to exploit that situation and then take the child even further away from what the initial purpose of them doing.
Here's the answer. Here's the answer for Fanatics' question. Here's the answer to your question, right? Like, I'm following your own guidelines, right? That parents should be around on a set and that they should contextualize things, right? That like you can do that with your kids, like. Just like you contextualize, hey, like adults shouldn't touch you here, right? Like if these are your no places, right? And if that happens, it's okay. Tell me and I'll deal with it, right? Not your fault, that stuff. You know, that talk. You can have that in the context of acting, saying, okay, on this set, these adults, they're gonna pretend to be your parents, right? Obviously, they're not your parents, right? Like I'm your parent, I'm the one who loves you, takes care of you, you listen to me. And all that good stuff, right? And in that context, like they're gonna do things that parents sometimes do, like kiss you on the mouth, and that's okay, right? Unless you're uncomfortable with it, because if they are, then and if they ever say anything like that, then obviously you should reverse course. But I would say that, and then I'll also say that outside of this context, that other people don't get to do these things with you, right? This is just pretend for your acting job, but if it's outside of here, then that's a problem. Boom.
So I think society has failed so miserably in so many ways, which is why the Me Too movement took off the way it did, because so many people get like molested and abused in different ways, and society just has this way of normalizing this stuff. And I think this is a clear cut case of it. So one of the things that I remember learning was that they had said that one way that you can like potentially set a child up to like not understand like their own bodily autonomy is and it's like really innocent behavior, right? It's when like children can sometimes feel uncomfortable and they can tell like you I don't want to hug this person, right? So you'll be like bringing your child around like their family, maybe an aunt or an uncle or anyone, and it'll be like, oh, give so and so a hug, and the kid's like, no, I don't want to give them a hug, and then like you can, because the person, like we as people say, this is a safe person and this is like your family member, you should hug them, and so you can tell your kid, no, give this person a hug, and in those moments you're teaching your child, my bodily autonomy is not mine, right? Like even if I'm uncomfortable, I should still give in and do the thing that I don't want to do. And then of course that can later on lead to like in other sexually charged situations, right? Even though the hug is not sexually charged, like, but in a sexually charged situation, when a child is uncomfortable, they can even be 16 with one of their peers, like just a young boy that's trying to advance things that the child is not comfortable with, then that kid can like develop in his mind or his or her mind, oh, I should give in. Like, I don't feel comfortable, but they're saying, come on, and so on and so forth, and I should give in this situation. You avoid those things by teaching them bodily autonomy. But on a set, A child doesn't necessarily have the right to say, I'm uncomfortable. You've already taught them to do whatever this person says, whatever the actors say, and that's why it leads to potential grooming. And then
that's
also,
what Gavin McInnes said. Yeah.
And then also, if and you
Oh.
look at like things like the people that I was talking about on the Nickelodeon thing, who was literally writing things into scenes specifically to get off on in this way. And sure, most of the time the context was not obvious that any person was going to sit there and say he's doing this to groom kids, right? It wasn't until afterwards that we're able to look back and see, now that he's been a convicted pedophile, wow, he was really responsible for writing these scenes. And now we're starting to see this very clear pattern of him intentionally writing this stuff in there, which is inappropriate, like really highlighting like these disgusting scenes with these kids' feet and all this nonsense, right? Like we can see that in hindsight. So in the same sense, we can see that the just because a behavior might make sense given some context, that it could still be exploitative and setting children up for future failure. And I think that's what we were watching.
Yes, it could be. Indeed. I think we can all
agree. Yeah, I never said it's guaranteed. I said it was potential from the very beginning. Okay. I'm sorry, did you misunderstand
I didn't say I did miss it. I'm agree with you. I'm saying it could be. All right.
So this is like this is like what do you call it? Collateral damage grooming. This isn't direct grooming. So like direct grooming, the groomer is specifically trying to acclimate this person and build trust with this person to come back later and cash in on that trust. You're basically saying like they're farming out these kids to be molested in the future by the industry. And that seems like a bit more than we were going for. I don't know.
Fanatic. Fanatic. What I was
going to
say
that's what happens,
is that though. Like what I was going to say is that some of what you described happened to me, right? Where, you know, my parents take me around these like their friends, right? And so like, oh, you got to go greet them, you got to go hug them and stuff like that. I'm like, I remember one time I advocated for myself. I was young, I was like 8. I advocated for myself, like I don't want to, right? I don't know this person. Like this was my first time ever meeting them, but like I gotta like get in intimate contact with these people. I didn't want it, and then I got in trouble for that, right? And I agree with everything you said there, and that like it forces them. It says that your body is in your own. Other people can decide that for you, which is why that like I say that it can be done. Things can be done in an exploitative way, and I think maybe we're just circling. But like things can be done in an exploitative way and a safe way. And a safe way would be like, hey, we're gonna be doing these things on set. If there's ever a problem, right, then let us know, right? Like that, like the director should be say that as well. If you ever feel a problem, if you feel uncomfortable, then let us know, right? If the things that we're doing hurt or whatever, let us know, and then we'll take care of that. So whatever. I think and they have like, sorry, what?
No, you finish. You on the roll.
I just kind of wanted to move back to Tiffany Haddish.
Oh sure.
Yeah. I actually wanted to say something to that because which is like a long ways away from that. Oh God, there's one thing I wanted to say about what Fanatic just said about the point that y'all just made on, but well, it's fine. It's past. Like in everyone's opening, well, not in everyone's, but in a few of y'all's openings, I think that it was a little unfair to place the sole blame on the parents, saying that they should have known, they should have asked. Don't be wrong. I do believe parents are ultimately hold the responsibility to advocate for their children. But I think when you get into like the big media industry and not having any background in it yourself, I think it's hard to know what's normal. Like hard to know. Like so the idea of like someone saying, "Oh yeah, no, they can be parents on set." Like where you got to go to work, you got to do other things, whatever. Like okay, don't get me wrong. Like they say, like your children are safe hands. We're only going to be here. It's not going to take that long to film. Do what you need to do. Come back and pick them up. And I can understand. I can understand in hindsight why a parent would say like, "Oh, okay, cool. This is a really big opportunity. If this is what they say that I'm not supposed to be here, then I guess that's just how it goes." And then like, I think that like removing the blame from Aria Spears, who I mean Tiffany Haddish, I think she was just an actor. I don't think she was a writer for either of the things. But
that's
like,
what it felt like to me. It felt like that to me, but I don't know.
How does it feel like that? Well, we don't know the writing process.
Because there's there's a few articles on this on like Ari Spears had like this was related to like his whole website. Like he had like a number of things he was doing at this time.
It was on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, it was on
different people for.
It was, yeah, it and I could be wrong. Like I'm not saying I have no, but it feels like she was like. Because Ari Spears, I think, might have been more well known to her, well known than her at the time. Right now, Tiffany Haddish is definitely the bigger star. But like, it feels like to me this is like another comedian jumping on a skit, right? Like looking for just publicity in general and being a part of this. Maybe even them being friends, right? But this seemed like an Ari Spears thing. But I could be wrong.
It's not even super important to the point I was gonna make.
Yeah.
I just think the idea of like doing this. And without giving the parents the opportunity to consent, saying that like, which I've read multiple articles, and even the article Prime gave us originally even references the mom saying like their son going home crying, and then like her asking like, what did y'all do? What did y'all do to make my child cry? And then like them responding saying like, I never would have agreed to it if I knew we were doing something related to the P word. And yeah, like I think that not giving the parents that option is something like that explicit. This is something obviously uncomfortable. I think that's the biggest problem in all of this.
Sure. I'm going to be doubtful. I'm going to be doubtful of any parents making these claims. First off,
after the fact.
Yeah, right. It's hard for me to imagine a situation where you send your kid off into this scenario and don't check to find out what exactly is going to be happening. There's no way in hell I'm going to do that as a parent, right? And it's not like this thing happened 30 years ago or something. It's not like we haven't seen how horrible it has been for child actors. These are Black folks. You tell me right now, think about any of the Black parents you know and imagine them allowing their kid to go off into these scenarios and not having like any say-so whatsoever. How likely is that? That's ridiculous. It's hard for me to believe any of that. So I'm incredibly doubtful. I think the parents probably consented. Times have changed. We now have different views, and I think now they're sitting there and saying, "Well, Me Too is a thing. Hollywood exploitation is a common theme. Niggas is getting paid off of this stuff, and now they're speaking up for it." I do not think they were completely left in the dark there. I think that's hogwash. That sounds absolutely ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and even an article, Tiffany Haddish says that she agreed to be a part of it. She said I shouldn't have agreed to be a part of it. So that means that the skit was already like in place before, like it wasn't her idea. It seems like something she.
My thing is the kid is gonna be given a template. It's gonna have the kid's lines on it, right? And the lines is gonna have the. I mean, tentatively.
Stage direction says
stage direction, script, like you're gonna get something like that, right?
Or a YouTube video.
Yeah,
It's probably. Here's the thing, though. If it's licensed work, right? If it's actual like SAG work that he can get credits for and all this other stuff, so he can build his repertoire, because that's what I just believe was probably going on. So he can get his credits. There's gonna be a script outlined, okay? That looked like there was actual cameraman, there was an actual there was other people involved behind the scenes as well. Okay, when you have that type of stuff go on, right? The kid gets the thing, the parent reviews it and goes, "All right, cool, I'm cool with my kid doing this." You're not just giving some warm and fuzzy of what you might be doing. Like even if it's low budget, like they give you something. You have an idea.
That's where I wanted to ask Bam, like, did you watch the skit?
Yeah.
Okay, so just like right off the rip, him looking through the newspaper at this kid and what that kid was wearing and what that kid was doing, at any point, if you'd been informed about even 1% of what was going on, as a parent, would you have been cool with it?
No.
So the lack of information is really the bigger issue here.
What do you mean?
Primary
That's
issue.
if there was a lack of information.
Right, because maybe the parents were informed and did that. It's hard for me to believe that they would do this skit without telling the parents what the kids would be involved in and so on and so forth. That sounds like a recipe for failure. But I mean, I guess it's possible. I just don't. It's hard for me to believe that.
It yet from everything I've read, but of course it's a legal case, so maybe they're being told not to speak on it.
Oh my lord! If there's a legal case, yeah, all this is going to come out.
But like knowing that
I don't
she
think there is
said
a case.
my kid came out crying. I don't know why.
Yeah, they have lawyers. Yeah, it's a legal case. Yeah.
Oh no, I think the article that I read, maybe there's something else, but there's an article I read talked about how they are trying to get prosecutors to look at it, and the prosecutors weren't looking at it. They're like, "Hey, I'm trying to make this as public as possible. Like I want prosecutors to talk to us so that we can charge them." But maybe there's a civil case you're talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a civil
No,
case
yeah, we're talking about civil. Yeah, we're talking about money.
Okay.
There's a lawsuit that's currently in place.
Okay.
Yeah. And so everything's gonna come out.
And that's why I don't believe anything is coming out these niggas' mouths. I figured, right? Now there's a financial incentive because the climate has changed, and now it's like, no, I had no idea. I didn't know what my kid was going to be involved in, so on and so forth. There had to be a waiver signed in order for him to produce this video with these kids. The parents had to sign off on that waiver because you can't do this with the minor. So then that means that the parent had to be informed to some degree. They knew that they were submitting their child to do some acting, and you're telling me they had no questions whatsoever on what would be. Yeah, nah. I'm sorry. I'm not raised yesterday, and I know y'all niggas not either. If y'all can be got, y'all get got. But I'm not gonna be that idiot getting got. I see exploitation. I know when niggas is trying to collect the bag, and that's what these parents are trying to do. You can get some, you ain't getting me. Freak out of here. They knew
they want a bag. Like I said, that.
Of course, and I'm sure they knew.
I mean, I think that'll come out if it comes out. Like I say, the fact that they're going on record saying that I guess that would be impossible. Not impossible to prove, but like at least casually you can say like, oh, I didn't know the specifics. Like, yeah, I signed this paper, but they didn't tell me in great detail, and now you're just dealing with a he said, she said. But like if it comes out that they did like sign a waiver of like stating the type of things that would be done, then I 100% agree with you. Like I said, but we're just not there yet. And I wouldn't be shocked if, because we're dealing with 2014 YouTube from a middling comedian, I wouldn't be shocked if this wasn't super by the books. Like it wouldn't be surprising at all if this was just something that he decided to do.
Well, I mean, but you got to think about it. Like this is a comedian that's been in the industry for, at this point, decades. Like he knows how these waivers worked. He's worked with children before in some of his Mad TV skits. He knows this process. It's hard for me to just dismiss all that and just be like, no. He just suspended all that and just groomed and abused these kids. Like I don't know.
No, I'm saying this is way too... I'm saying that
I look at it as abuse. I'm saying like that seems pretty gross.
Yeah, I'm saying it was gross, but I'm saying like if it came like I wouldn't say that like, oh, you're a liar. I would say that maybe it's dumb, but like if it came out that like, oh yeah, this is a YouTube video in 2014, he just said, hey, you want to film a video? Like shot a text message and like that was enough. Like probably a budget probably wasn't crazy. Probably just already owned the camera.
2014 is only 8 years ago. And by that point, he had been again in this industry for 8 years.
Doesn't mean that
for decades.
But I'm saying, do you think that just because he's been in this industry doesn't mean that like for his own private YouTube channel he's going to these links?
He just decided to cut all corners and cut all like things to cover himself. Like I don't think so.
I'm just saying that like this isn't like network. I'm saying I think you can do a lot on YouTube without paperwork.
Bam.
Yeah, you can do
Bam. Let's
wait.
Let's look at facts. Okay, let's look at facts. Facts number one. Okay, they clearly rented this facility, right? They rented the house because it was bare bones. All they did was put a couch in there. Like that was it. And made sure the tub had some semblance of running water. So they rented a house. That's one. Two. No, I'm saying that's in the video.
Oh, you think it was actually his house?
You just look at a video. They rented a house.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, they rented a house.
Possibly.
That's one.
But we're saying this is for sure.
Oh, he's doing the BAM thing. Let's
I'm not doing the
BAM
thing.
Yeah,
I'm saying maybe, possibly.
They have
just don't say facts and say that you know
BAM.
Bam. If this is a child, if you're getting a child actor be a part of something, and that kid is trying to come up in the industry, they're going to do it by the book so the kid can get credits. Okay, any parent that has a child actor knows how that works. If you don't know how that system works, then go educate yourself on it first. Then we'll come back and have this conversation on those specifics. Now, the other thing is The other thing is, when doing this, he got another person of that's trying to come up in the industry, Tiffany Haddish, and she's gonna be like, "Yo, let's do this by the book so people can get their effing credits." That credit thing is a real big thing. So then you can build your portfolio, and you can have said like, "Oh, I did this other thing. Please refer back to this." Nobody's just doing stuff just for the sake of doing shit. Nobody, even if it was going up on even if it was going up on YouTube, if you have serious aspirations in Hollywood, you're not just doing shit.
I don't know. Like I said, I just think you have really high like expectations of what media was at that point. Like the idea that like, oh, okay, like Logan and Jake Paul made millions off of Vine, and do you think that they were like, okay, let's sign some contracts, or do you think they just
please don't keep going over it, y'all? Just let them have it. It's over. Just move past this, please, for the love of God.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Let's
So
move past that.
So this concept, right? The concept of like a pedophile uncle. It within, and again, so I haven't seen the other video, right? I don't think that has surfaced yet of Tiffany with the older girl. So we can only just make assumptions about that one. But I have seen this one, and I can't imagine another one being worse than this.
Right.
In the video, we got Aria Spears, and like he's like leering at the boy, and like at some point in time, like putting oil on the boy, like a little bit on his back, and then at the end,
that's
the boy's
wild.
putting oil on him, on his arm, not his whole body, like, but anything, but still, it happened, and he like jumps in the tub and plays with him a little bit, and it's rough, but like, can this concept, like, the concept was, hey, don't be careful who you leave your kids with, right? Which is super ironic here, right? But do you think that this concept can be done well, right? Like, can you have the theme of possible exploitation, and then have use a real life kid for this, and like do it in something that's tasteful? I don't know about funny, but at the very least tasteful.
I mean, it just couldn't be a joke. I don't think you can combine those two. I don't think you can combine humor with such a serious issue and it come out tasteful.
We do.
I disagree
all the time. Yeah.
Well, yes, you can absolutely do it tastefully, but just I think again, had he done things that were like just more suggestive, like just making comments like, hey, like your shorts or something, or I don't know, whatever the freak, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a comedian and I'm not a writer. He could have done those things. It's just you're literally zooming in on a kid moving his butt in draws, and it's just everything about it was gross. Getting in that tub, like the squirting of the oil, like everything about it was really, really, really gross. I don't even think he tried to make it kosher. It just seemed like he was just going full ham. I don't. Yes. There's a guy, Trey Rags, extremely funny nigga. He recently did a thing like where it said something like when your uncle gets out of prison, and he's like, with you or something, and it was a really, really funny skit. I mean, I guess it didn't involve any child actors, but again, it could be done. It's just you have to be extremely careful and make sure that like there is nothing overtly sexually suggestive that a kid would be able to meaningfully imitate or interpret, and that's what they did. And that's what they should have done, but they didn't.
I don't know. It's a really touchy thing to try to make comedy out of. So we're like kind of getting into a cutie situation again. But with child actors, they've been doing more to protect them, having certain counselors and other people on site to make sure things are kosher, which is basically them covering their own ass so they don't get sued 5-10 years down the line. But these things are important to keep actors safe, because people like Shirley Temple were abused. Judy Garland was abused. All these child actors went through something mentally. So I think going forward, we need to actually take that into better consideration.
I think I got to think back to, I wonder if Dave Chappelle did a shit good about it. I think if it could be done funny and tasteful, he would have done it. But I have no idea.
He's never done a pedophilia skit that I know of.
I don't know.
I feel like he has to have somewhere on his show. I just can't think.
The closest he ever did was the baby on the corner.
Oh, that was.
Oh,
I mean, that was,
bro. That baby
was,
on the corner mess was hilarious.
It was a very funny skit. I mean, that was a very funny bit in his stand-up.
But it wasn't even really a baby, was it? Wasn't it
a baby?
No, it was a baby.
Well, oh, it was really a baby.
Yeah,
he thought it was. Oh, he thought it was something, but it really was a baby.
And it breaks down to him buying weed off a baby on the corner in the middle of the hood.
It was a good skit. I forgot that was Dave Chappelle's, but yeah. So I think it's possible, and I like what Fanatic was saying, is that like you kind of just do things more suggestive, right? Like, yeah, they were zooming in on that kid's crotch. I'm like, why? Who the fuck thought this was a good idea? Holy shit! Like, what?
Ari Spears did?
Like, apparently, like, take that shit back to the fucking drawing board on that shit. What the
hard
fuck?
body? Everything about this skit was gross.
They should have ran that through a focus group first.
I was like,
no, you don't even need a focus group. If you're there on set and you're the cameraman and you go, wait a minute, what the fuck am I doing?
Like what you tell me to do? Where am I supposed to zoom in on? Like,
smooth. Oh my god, that's one of the biggest problems.
Nailed it.
That's one of the biggest problems with this, and I mean, it really does speak to, like, you know, what we see is that when you have a group of people working on these kind of things, once somebody gets into authority and like it's like, well, I'm paying whatever, like a lot of times people will just go ahead and go along with all sorts of nonsense, and that's what happened here. Because like, yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm writing a skit, so at this point you're the camera crew, you're being hired, right? So you're just going to do the work, and then niggas will just shut up and do it, and they'll go along with it, and then that's how exploitation and abusive stuff happens, and that's what the freak we're seeing. That was everyone should have stopped him along the way. Who didn't sit there and say, from the camera guy, I'm not doing this, to the sound guy, like the guy who's on the boomstick, I'm not doing this, to the editor, I'm not doing this, to the actor, the parents, I'm not doing this, to Ari Spears himself, I'm not doing this. Everyone around should have stopped this behavior. But I get it, you know, you're in Hollywood, you're doing your scene, whatever, you know it's going to be edgy sells, you know, you're probably desperate, your career's kind of falling off, even though he's a very funny comedian. Like I can see where all of that stuff went wrong. It's just, niggas, 1 billion people should have stopped him. 1 billion people. But they didn't. Same thing happened with all the Nickelodeon exploitation. It's wild as freak.
Like the Fanatic is just preaching right there. But so like, do you think that?
Oh wow!
Right, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna read something. No, I'm gonna let you finish. I'll let you finish.
Okay.
Then,
Sure. So then, does anyone think? I know what Fanatic feels about this, but does anyone think that this was exploitation on Ari Spears' part, at the very least?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay,
wait, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by exploitation?
What do you think exploitation is? Because I think everyone's gonna have a different idea here. Because, well, like sometime, like we just had a whole thing about exploitation in terms of like kissing, right? Like what exactly counts and all that stuff. So we might have different definitions of that. So what do you mean by exploitation? If you think it's exploited,
children exploited?
What do you think? Yeah,
were these children exploited for his comedy? Absolutely.
Oh well, sure. I mean, that's a very
that's the basic thing. But I mean, like, sexually exploited.
It'd be hard for me to say that they were sexually exploited. Do I think? I mean, it's just such a banal thing to say. I think it has the potential to be really harmful for these children, and so it should have been avoided. I don't think Ari Spears was intentionally trying to exploit the children or do anything like that. I think it was just poor judgment.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was just poor judgment. It was totally in bad taste, but I don't think he was like trying to be a literal pedophile. I think he was just doing this for his art, you know, as an actor, as a comedian. He was just doing it for his art. So I don't think he actually had malice. I think he just had a really poor judgment, as sometimes artists do.
Yeah.
This is literally the worst joke like ever told between 2010 and 2020. Like
it's just worse execution. Because the joke is funny. The idea, it's a common trope talking about like someone's touchy uncle, right? Like that's a common trope. It's just again, it's the execution was poor because you actually use a child actor, and we're doing really grotesque things. But the joke is not the problem. It's just how it was executed.
Yeah, I can see them using like an 18-year-old guy, a young 18-year-old guy, saying that he's like 15 in the skit, and then like rolling with that, you know. You could do almost the same thing. It would be weird, but like almost the same thing, and like it wouldn't be all that problematic.
Yeah, remember Chris Rock, you know, white people's favorite comedian. He said in one of his skits, he said living in America is like your uncle that paid for your college but then molested you out when you were 12. And he said, like, I'm really grateful to be here, but you sure did F the S out of me, right? It's a very funny joke. I'm not telling it in a comical way because, you know, whatever. But that's a funny joke. So, like, the concept is not foreign. Again, it's just you got to do it in a very tasteful way. And I can't imagine how you really do it in a tasteful way using child actors. It seems really difficult. And then, God, the cinematography and everything. I'm repeating myself at this point. It's just
because I just looked it up. Dave Chappelle's done multiple jokes about involving like at points of his career around Michael Jackson and kids and like
remember you talked about getting blown by Michael Jackson. He's like, that's got to be the highlight of your career. He's right. Everyone has done this. This is not uncommon. It's not unfounded. It's just the way it was executed.
Yeah, like I said, real children. It's like that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if they can be done tasteful. I
don't know how you could.
Yeah.
But, you know, and I don't think anyone should attempt. Like I can do it. I'm gonna do the. I'm gonna do it right this time. Like it's just not even worth going down that path. But you can
leave it alone.
So okay, you guys are saying that you don't believe it was done intentionally. Okay, but does that matter for damage that has been done? Right. So let's. I know, Fanatic, you are very cynical, like when it skeptical when it comes to these accusations now, right? That are coming at this point in time. But let's take them at face value. If there was damage done, does it matter that it was unintentional? Like, does it have to be intentional to be sexual exploitation?
Oh.
Or that to be even damage?
It doesn't have to be.
Okay,
so it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't. Do you think it doesn't have to be intentional to damage people? But like,
it doesn't have. It has to be intentional to damage people.
No, he said
it doesn't have to. It doesn't be intentional to damage people, but you know, it's hard to quantify the exploitation if that's unintentional.
So then,
and then how are the parents? I don't know how the parents are able to sue or anything if they were fully informed in all this nonsense. If they fully agreed, how do you get compensated for something you were fully aware of and you fully committed to, and that you were very much in favor of? Like, I don't know how. Compensated means that you were done wrong. You weren't done wrong if you were fully aware and fully informed.
I think it's the actual children that are pushing the lawsuit forward, not the parents. So the children are now suing them, but I don't know how that would work because. Technically, it's not their fault. Your parent put you in the room.
That's who they should be suing.
You have to sue your own parents.
There was a lawsuit. I don't know what happened for the kid that was on the Nirvana cover.
He got thrown out.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
Oh, same
that
thing.
Was stupid. That was a dumb lawsuit. That was a frivolous lawsuit. The person just trying to collect it back. That's why I'm really skeptical.
You are, baby. You look
like no, literally, unless you tell us, when no one knows, freak out of here, bro. You're just trying to collect a bag.
Yeah. No, that thing was so disgusting on multiple levels because that guy, like as he grew up, he was so proud of that cover. He on 3 separate occasions, like to mark anniversaries of the cover, on 3 separate occasions, he recreated it. And he talked about, he gave interviews of it. Yeah, you can see his recreations online.
Freak out.
He gave interviews about this cover, right? If you guys don't know, maybe you don't know, because I didn't know, because like I'm like not like a rock fan or anything. But like there's a Nirvana band cover, right, for one of their albums, and it has a little baby, like a 4-month-old, I think he is at the time. And they got him in water, like in a pool, and then later on they put like a dollar bill on a hook, like a fish hook, like, and it looked like he's like trying to swim to the dollar bill, right? They inserted that into the photo. In any case, it's apparently an extremely famous cover for people who are into that genre of music. And yeah, so the kid like was proud of it. He gave interviews about how proud of he was, like how proud he was to be part of that cultural moment, and then he recreated that thing on three separate fucking occasions. He recreated, and then afterwards he sues Nirvana saying, "Oh, I got sexually exploited somehow." And then the judge, just like last week I think it was, they tossed that shit out. It's like, this is garbage.
Yeah. I love that, Prime, and I love when you let PrimeCayes and friends speak long enough, because then they will give you all the ammunition you need, and I love that, and I totally agree with everything you just said.
Oh boy, here we go.
No, I'm just making sure that we're on the same page, and I totally agree with you. Like that, if a person is claiming some sort of exploitation, we should be able to look up some of the previous statements and look for evidence of those things. And for example, there was a guy that was like trying to sue Michael Jackson for like sexual exploitation, and they made a documentary called Leaving Neverland or Surviving Neverland. The craziest thing about it is that same person as an adult, like during one of Michael Jackson's other trials, because as when he was a child, he testified that Michael Jackson had never did anything inappropriate with him, and so on and so forth, and that whatever, like everything was on the up and up, and that's what he testified as a child. But then as an adult, when Michael Jackson was accused later on by some more would-be exploiters, then at that point, he volunteered as an adult to go and sit there and be cross-examined, knowing how crazy those depositions are, and that he was going to be facing a team of lawyers trying to do everything they can to make him switch himself up and all that. And he submitted himself to that and then agreed to it. And then afterwards, he did more interviews and so on and so forth and said Michael Jackson was his greatest friend. And after Michael Jackson died, he then posted, "You're the reason I dance. You're one of the greatest friends I've ever had." And this is as a grown, full agency, fully cognizant man. He said, "Yeah, you are the greatest to ever do it. You're one of the reasons I live," and so on and so forth. And then after that, he then asked, "Hey, like you guys are going to be doing a Cirque du Soleil show, and I was one of Michael Jackson's really good friend, and he really inspired my dancing, and we had a good relationship. I'd like to be responsible for being the choreographer for this Cirque du Soleil show." And they denied him. The estate denied him and went with somebody who was more successful, and so on and so forth. And even after that, he still talked about the greatness that was Michael Jackson. And then after that, he goes and he says, "I'm flat broken. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life." Then he recovered memories from a psychologist that Michael Jackson exploited him. After all of that testimony, after all of these accolades and all the praise of Michael Jackson and his death and how he'd be mourning the loss of his best friend ever, all of that, now he remembers, "Oh wait, actually this nigga diddled me." Now we're supposed to believe all of that. The judge is not going to throw that out. Instead, we're going to go ahead and create an entire documentary and pay this nigga that's like completely broke and not interview any of the people that would like argue to the to the contrary and all that stuff. But we can't do that for Jackson. But in this case, for the Nirvana thing, we're willing to recognize, like, yeah, no, this is stupid and exploitative.
I'm on your side. I'm not sure where you think I am on this, but like I'm on your side.
Oh, okay. That's great. So you do think that the people in that Surviving Neverland documentary were disgusting, exploitative, and fake?
I haven't seen it, but like from everything, and I want to see it. I really do want to see it, so I can be more informed in this. Like, from my understanding, like the whole thing seems skeevy. Like the whole thing, because I saw, because when that came out, because like I just didn't have access to it, that's why I didn't see it. I wanted to watch it, but what I did see was a YouTube video responding to it, and it basically made all the points that you made. But it made it tough for me to engage in a conversation because I hadn't seen the documentary, so I don't know if they had any evidence that would have been, damning. So yeah.
Nope, just testimony.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But that's all you need when it's black people. When it's black people, all you need is testimony. You don't need any additional evidence. Look at Cosby.
I know it.
Look
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, look at Cosby.
All you need is testimony.
I was waiting for it.
No, but this is where I get with Fanatic on the Cosby thing. They waited way too damn long.
No. Don't. Let's not go there. Let's not go to Cosby. Please don't do it. Don't do it.
All right, let's not. Let me get my dig off, and then we just keep on moving. Yeah, I don't know responding.
All right, hey.
Do y'all feel that I don't know if you've paid attention to the level of heat that's being tossed out here. Do y'all believe that the responses that Tiffany Haddish in particular is receiving is fair? For like, does the
So with
the crime.
With Tiffany Haddish, okay, Tiffany Haddish is low key kind of been on the decline anyway. So she's in that phase of her career where they don't love her anymore. People already are hating on her, right? So now she has to fight against the hate. You know what I'm saying? And the haters now have ammo. So now all public reception is now turned against her. And everybody goes through that phases of their career. There's phases where people, you know what I'm saying? The only person I know that didn't go through that was like people like The Rock, what's his name? Denzel Washington, Jamie Foxx, freaking
Oh no, Jamie Foxx got it. Jamie Foxx definitely got it.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
It was
but the other two, you're right.
It was more on the music side, not his acting side.
No, his acting too. They were definitely coming for that nigga multiple times.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. I remember when he did that stealth movie, and that stealth movie like.
Oh yeah, okay, never mind. I forgot he did do the stealth movie. Yeah. They was on his ass. I was even a little bit on his ass. So I digress. I forgot that even existed. But more so with her, like I feel like she's getting more slack. The thing with Spears is people don't even know him. People don't even care.
Younger people don't even care. Definitely don't know who Ari Spears is,
which is crazy because he's incredibly funny, but he's black, so it's a harder road to travel.
Yeah.
I think black comedians can be popular.
They can be, but it's harder. It's harder. I'm gonna say it. Point blank. Period. There's no way in hell you will ever convince me Seinfeld is the funniest comedian. Not even close. But he's the most successful comedian. He's plenty of people, and he's the most successful comedian by a wide margin.
Yeah,
that's why because of the syndication of his TV show. That's not due to popularity.
Prior to him getting the syndication of his TV show, he was already incredibly successful because he's white.
Yeah, that man.
You're not going to convince me that his comedy style is
the only person in the room not wanting to say the N-word in a room full of white people and one black.
Of course, I respect him. But we're not going to sit here and pretend that his accolades are that the race has not played a role in him being as successful as he is. Like no one's going to sit here and do that to me right now. I know.
Yeah, he's not even close.
He's also not the first comedian to get their own sitcom. I mean, their own. Yeah.
Yeah, or here's a better example. I'm sorry. Amy Schumer. What the hell is going on there?
I think she's funny.
Oh, okay.
What?
You're Bam, of course. I'm not mad at it. It's Bam.
Have y'all watched any of her stuff? Her and Amy Wong, I think both of them are funny.
Yeah, I'm not entertaining that. But yeah. So my point being, everyone with the brain, we all know the reason why they're successful is because they're white. Look at Monique, an infinitely funnier comedian, had been in the game way longer, sold out arenas, and they tried to offer her $250,000 on the heels of like doing a movie that got crazy accolades where her name was all the whatever. And lo and behold, they were more than willing to blackball her, right? Because she's black. It had nothing to do with her inability to sell out seats. It had nothing to do with her like not being funny or none of that. And meanwhile, they're giving millions to Amy Schumer, who is both unattractive, unfunny, and unoriginal in her comedy. It's because she's white. She has a complexion for the protection. Let's not ignore that.
Amy Schumer sells out arenas.
Because she's white.
But
stealing comedy.
I think she's funny.
Bro, you watch her stand up?
She's not funny. Don't argue with them. Don't argue. There's no way you can disprove him. It's fine.
Bro, on the tier list, okay. Who you got her beaten?
There's not that many female comedians or larger name female
male or female. Who you got her better than?
I
need to know where your mind is at.
A lot of people. I think her stuff is like I said. I think it's funny. To it.
Wait, please don't argue this with him. It's just his opinion. There's no way you can.
What's the little Indian dude that everybody thinks is hilarious?
Aziz Ansari?
Yeah, I think she's way funnier than Aziz.
Okay, that's crazy. So look, here, listen. If we can't, Bam, not Bam, Smooth. If we can't get him to be reasonable on things that we have factual evidence for, where it's not just opinion or subjective, if we can't get him to be reasonable on that, why engage him on a conversation that is heavily subjective, that he can always make the appeal of, this is just how I feel? Why would we engage that?
You know, I only wanted to engage that so chat could know for the record where his mind is at. I just wanted him to say so we could so they could be it could be in the
I
in
mean,
the history
I love
books
Prime
forever.
Chat. You understand Prime Chat is white people, right? Like there's probably good
No,
names in black communities.
I'm just saying for like YouTube history and all of this, because
YouTube
eventually I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna clip this because YouTube
That's
lets me
fine.
clip it.
I'll stand on it.
I'm gonna clip it. I'm
You're
gonna clip it. I'm like, yeah, this is your guy. Like,
this is
But you
exactly
gonna
what
like
I
you gonna
needed.
revision it. You gonna
Is this
rewrite
your
and say that
king?
like you said that you
Yeah,
said she was funnier than Bernie Mac or something. You gonna say something stupid instead of what I said.
no, I don't have to say anything. All I'm gonna do is just sit there and look.
Like,
Bernie Mac is overrated.
Whoa. What do you? Are you serious? So you held your opinion? You came for me and you said Bernie Mac, the king of comedy. Forget the other.
Mind blown.
Wait,
Bernie Mac?
no, Fanatic, no.
Oh,
He just
I
be-
No, say it.
Smooth. This is what happens.
Listen.
Is absolutely
Smooth.
hilarious.
This is what happens when you meet
Don't
your heroes.
go-
Okay.
Don't go back and watch it. Don't go back and
I
watch
watch
it.
so many like
Your
once a
memory,
month.
not you, Bam. Everyone else. I'm saying like your memory
Bro,
is definitely
used
going to
watch
betray you, and
Bernie.
you're going to be like,
That's
how was
bad.
I so into this?
Bernie Mac eating an orange is hilarious. If you
It
can
is.
just eat an orange and
Bro.
be funny, I quit.
Okay.
Bernie
thought-
Mac
I thought
is
his
still funny
TV
to this
show-
day.
I thought his TV show was overrated. But I thought
Yeah.
the King is a Comedy
Okay.
special.
But
Right?
his TV show, he couldn't be himself.
Yeah,
Bernie
yeah,
Mac
but-
is,
But the Kings of Comedy special, right? Like, is one of the greatest specials ever, including Bernie Mac's part in it.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, just don't go back and rewatch it because then you'll be disappointed.
I think I will, right?
And you won't be
Do
I
it.
should, like,
It doesn't
I should do a
age well.
react. I should do a react, just for
You
for
should.
Fanatic.
And you'll see how much it doesn't age well. I'm dead serious, bro. It hurts.
Hold on.
Do you?
So just because, wait a minute, well, let me just say this one thing. Just because something doesn't age well doesn't mean the guy wasn't funny at the time. So I maybe like there are jokes here that just like don't make as much sense in our context, right? That doesn't mean that for the time the dude wasn't utterly hysterical, right?
Yeah, Richard Pryor.
Yeah, for
didn't
sure.
age well. He's hilarious. Eddie
Richard
Murphy
Pryor's
Raw-
jokes do age well. You watch it stand up now; it's still funny as fake.
Oh my god!
Again,
What?
I almost had
opinions
him.
on that.
Bam! I almost had him.
I think Eddie Murphy Raw didn't age super well, but I think it was hilarious for the time.
Oh,
Okay.
damn!
But I don't think that Eddie Murphy.
I've never
is
seen
very
Eddie
funny.
Murphy's Raw, so I don't know.
Damn!
It wasn't
I
that
almost
good.
had him. Like Fanatic. Focus on me.
That's disrespectful. Prime.
Just
Yo,
because
I don't know what to do here,
Because
man.
age well. Hold on, let me just get this out of him. Just because it doesn't age well doesn't mean that like a person isn't funny, right? Like they could have been hysterical at the time, and for whatever reason, maybe their jokes were heavily culturally contextual, and so like outside of that, like a moment in time, they're less funny. But that doesn't mean they weren't funny at the time, hysterical, right?
Sure. I mean, I think there are things that don't age well. My gosh, this hurts my heart to even say it. Jim Carrey movies did not age well, and it's really gross. Go
Oh,
back
yeah.
and watch
Oh yeah,
Like,
Mhm.
all of them. It hurts
Ace
me because he's
Ventura
one
was
of the.
solid.
Truman Show was, I think, one of the best.
But that wasn't even a comedy. Like, that was
Ace
more of a
Ventura.
serious movie. It's one of my favorite movies. Truman Show is in my top 30 movies of all time, by the way. But it's not because of his comedy. It's his comedy
It's just an
doesn't age
interesting idea.
particularly
The
well.
concept was like
Yes,
fantastic.
it's a great movie, but it's not his comedy. And I think it's gross. Watch Ace Ventura. I could quote that movie to you. I watched it probably over 40 times in my life.
Ace
Same with
Ventura,
Ace
Pet
Ventura
Detective
2.
is fire.
Yeah,
There's
both
only
of
one
those.
bad thing
I-
about it that didn't age well, and that was the transphobia.
Hmm?
That was just really bad.
No.
Well, how is that transphobic? It's not
Bro,
transphobic.
bro, I don't
they were
even
being
care about
trapped.
it.
Come on, man. Oh
Hey,
my gosh.
it is what it
Bro.
is.
That's not transphobic. It's rape by deception for a person to have sex with someone, deceiving them about
Right.
their sex.
But it
That's
was
rape by
the
deception. That's not
reaction to it.
transphobic.
The jaw full of gum, the plunger to the face.
It would be
multiple baths.
disgusting for plenty of people, and I don't think it's transphobic if somebody literally raped me by deception and then I knew that I kissed or had sex with a man. That's not transphobic. That's disgusting behavior, and I've been raped. That's not the same thing. That's not
I
transphobic.
agree with you. It was the reason why he felt that way, and it was an over-the-top reaction, in my opinion. Otherwise, I think
That's
it
not
was funny.
transphobic.
Okay, I'll agree.
Bro, him having all them people start gagging and throwing up like that, bro, when he did that, that was like probably one of the funniest
That was
things
funny though.
in the fucking movie, bro. Like what's even crazier is I thought the person like shit themselves as a kid. Like I thought it was Dookie. Like I thought that's what they were saying. Like
Wait, and what
falling
scene?
out. Like no, I'm saying like the scene where he like did the whole reveal or whatever. Like that's what I thought was going on. Like I was that green. Like it wasn't until I went back as older and I was like, oh snaps! I said this is wild, but it's funny.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'll have to. I haven't seen it. I've only saw a Ventura once when I was a child. So I can't make any judgment calls as to like.
Him coming out the rhino's butt naked.
I remember, the rhino's butt. That was an
extremely funny scene.
The reason I'm not. It's lucky that I'm alive because I laughed so hard, like I couldn't get air into my body. It was so funny. That
whole movie was like that for me.
I remember that scene, and it still made me laugh. That was the most riotously funny thing that I've probably ever seen in my fucking life. That was comedy.
So that scene for me, like not that specific scene. I'm saying the scene that for me that like literally could have killed me was in Dumb and Dumber, where there's a scene where he's like going through his memory and like he's like having all these imaginations like while he's driving, and he's like in a restaurant in a date with a girl, and like the waiter like is like kissing her hand, but like doing so in a kind of disrespectful way, and he gets upset and he starts fighting everybody inside of the restaurant. He's like beating on everybody, and then finally that guy jumps out and starts putting hands on him back, and he's just getting served up. I'm telling you, because it was on VCR back then, and I remember laughing and laughing and laughing, and then rewinding the scene, and then laughing all over again, and then rewinding it, and then laughing all over again, and each time I'm literally struggling to breathe. I genuinely could have killed myself. It was OD. That was one of the best scenes ever. But it's gross. I still find that scene very funny, and I think whatever. But there's a lot of stuff like that where you watch his movies. I'm serious. I've watched the scene from Cable Guy. What I thought was the funniest scene of that whole movie, like the Excalibur scene. And I went back and watched it, and it hurt me. I'm just like, oh God, it's not as funny as
that movie wasn't a comedy. That's the bad part about it.
Brothers, though?
It was supposed to be.
No, Cable Guy was supposed to be a serious drama.
No, there's so many scenes in that movie that were clearly funny. There was like clearly like comedy.
Jim Carrey. You had to really tone it down.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I'll revisit.
It was about mental illness.
I'm gonna check. I feel like that was intended to be funny, but I could be wrong.
Well, fuck. I can wiki that right now and see like where it's categorized at.
It's a black comedy psychological thriller.
Okay, so it is comedy. Nigga, there's no way it's not. Sure, but it's comedy. There were so many comedic scenes that were literally just comedy. Bro, the Ben Stiller call into that dang radio station where he's just like, my brother's and it was Asian, and he was speaking a language, and I'm pretty sure it was Asian, and it was like, nigga, that scene was clearly just comical. There was no other point to that whole scene in that call. That was just comedy. What the freak? Nah. That was a comedy. That was a comedy movie. There's no way.
Black comedy. Yeah, it's comedy then. All right, fair enough.
Yeah,
man.
Okay.
I love comedy.
So we've been. This has been I didn't think we would drift as much on this topic as we have. But let's try to circle back. In terms of like does comedy it should. Okay. Let me try to work this out. Jokes fall flat. Comedians like put out jokes, right? And it happens to all of them, and they fucking fall flat. Sometimes those jokes are directed at a person, right? Like, let's say a comedian's doing crowd work, and they're talking about like a person, and it falls flat. Now, because it falls flat, because they did a poor execution of a joke that maybe could have been done, that another comedian could have done better, but because they did poor execution of that joke, are they doing harm, right? Let's say they're going to make a comment about someone's weight, right? There's a way to do that and it'd be funny, right? And there's easy ways to do it and just be like fucking hurtful. So like, are they doing harm? and like, do they have something to apologize for when a
Sure.
joke falls flat? But
100%. Like a huge portion of comedy is a lot of times to be edgy and things like that, but you are taking that risk. Speaking of the very untalented and unfunny Amy Schumer, do you guys remember when she was she told her joke during a roast, and Steve-O's friend had just recently died, and she said and she was like joking. She's like, I'm really sorry for your loss. I mean, I know like you're probably spending a lot of time thinking, why wasn't it me? Or it could have been me or whatever. And she said, and the rest of us are sitting here thinking, why wasn't it? And it was just a really dark joke. It didn't land well, and everyone just kind of groaned. It was not one of those things where it's like, ha ha ha, she's being a funny comedian. It was just like, yo, you don't know this nigga. Like his friend literally died like a week ago or something. Like this isn't funny. This is just awful. Yeah. And I think that's a perfect example of a joke that just didn't land and that she failed at. But I mean, that's not a hard sell. So yeah, you're taking the risk every time you do that.
Amy, man, she's just historically been just not good. I don't know.
Let's not focus on this Amy thing. I just want
I just wanted to say that. Like, okay. I just wanted to get that out. But
sure,
but wait. I'm sorry.
That was the point. That was his only point. Next person. He didn't have nothing else. That was
it. No. But on a serious note, like comedians, yes, there can be times when they make jokes that it can land really badly, but I'm all for them taking that risk. Okay, if now there's times where a comedian say jokes and it pisses the person they're joking off off in the audience, but everybody else is just crying laughing. That's a risk you have to take going to a comedy show. That you're gonna get roasted so bad, the joke's gonna be so good, you get mad. Like that's what happens sometimes, and you have to be prepared for that. If you don't like it, don't show up to comedy shows. Don't go watch comedy. Don't listen to it, because some stuff is gonna hit you different.
Okay, so all right, but then let's try to balance the two. Okay, so Smooth, I think what Smooth and Fanatic both are saying are true, right? But they fall at two different ends, right? So what Fanatic is saying is that you can have a joke, right, an edgy joke, and it falls like the joke he described, and the crowd groans, and it's like, you probably did harm here, right? You said a joke about a person's friend that died, you thought you were being edgy, and then it just wasn't it. But on the other end, what Smooth said is that you can have a joke, edgy joke, a similar joke that's edgy, that everyone else can laugh at, and then you are hurt, and then you just take that risk going there. But like, what is it about, what distinguishes those two situations, right? Is it the fact that more people laugh than groaned? Is that what it is? Because that's what it sounds like, right? That like, hey, like in the situation that Smooth described, what people will be saying is that, well, you gotta learn to be able to take a joke, right? It was funny, we all laughed, and it was rough, but you just gotta learn to take a joke. But then on what Fanatic said, right? It's a comedian trying and failing to be funny, but it lands badly. Maybe one or two people found that funny. It's a possibility someone found it funny, but like, what's the difference between these situations? It sounds like it's just the crowd.
So it's a lot based on like someone's personality. Like if you're being defensive, if you're walking in there being defensive, you know what I'm saying, and you're one of those people, like, I'm a defensive person. I want to defend myself at all times, and I'm in a position where I can't, so I get mad. But yet I went to the comedy show and I sat within range. I sat in the first two rows to where I could get roasted. Yo, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of on you. You know what I'm saying? So if everyone else laughs, you got to take that on the chin. If you're walking through during their set, you know what I'm saying, and you get roasted and you get mad, you know what I'm saying, you messed up. You know what I'm saying? That's on you. Now, for the other scenario, it's where, you know what I'm saying, you end up getting You know what I'm saying? Basically, like the comedian tells the joke, but there's nobody feels it. Nobody hears it and goes, yeah, that's fun. Like you just completely miss the mark. Nobody's on your side. Like it feels more like a personal attack. Everyone felt like it was a personal attack. Like and it's all based on the audience at the end of the day.
No,
it's not fully.
One second. Thank you, IRI, for the kind 206 person raid. Shout out to IRI for the serious kindness on your end. Much appreciated. I nearly missed that. But thank you, IRI. I hope you had a fantastic stream. This is All Black Everything, where we talk about like all kinds of stuff. We're talking about like comedy and how it hits or doesn't hit. We talked about the Tiffany Haddish situation, where some like pretty messed up sexually charged skits happen with children. It was pretty fucked up. Anyway, if you haven't heard about that, it's a crazy ass story. We've just been talking about that. And after this, we're gonna have an open panel where you can be involved. So if you heard about those stories or anything other that's been happening in the news, like the Queen dying, any of that stuff, then you can be a part of it, right? Or if anything interests you, hit that follow button right now. Make sure notifications are on so you know I'm going live. I do this all the time. Especially for social in chat for our social media. Hit us up on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Help us out there. Follow the channel. YouTube's where you find all the VODs. Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, hit that follow button if you're going to head out. Before you do so, hit that follow button if you haven't done so yet. Thank you so much. Okay. Sorry for interrupting you. But yeah, we were talking about a fanatic. I've heard Smooth's reply, and for the audience that just came in here, since you don't know what the fuck we're talking about, I asked about like at what point does a person like kind of have the right to be offended, right? At a joke.
I kind of didn't answer the question.
Or like at what point is like does a comedian have to actually apologize for a joke? So we drew two different situations, right? One where a comedian gives a joke to a room and it lands like a lead balloon, right? People groan, they're like, this is disgusting, right? And like in poor taste. But another where a similar joke is told, or maybe the same joke is told to a different crowd, and everyone laughs, but a few people are offended, right? So what's the difference between these two situations? Is in the first situation, does a person have to apologize because their joke landed so badly, and everyone else seemed to be offended? Right? Is the difference just between like how many people in the crowd are entertained by the joke? Is that like what makes it a good or bad joke? So I was asking that to this crew here. Fanatic, you can respond.
Yeah, I don't think it's like just entirely up to the crowd. I think because like I think these things are incredibly nebulous and subjective. So it's just there is always that risk. As a comedian, like every joke, you're sitting there and you're on edge. Is this joke going to land or not? I experience that all the time. I have a very edgy sense of humor, and plenty of times I've gotten bodied for it. One time I remember I used to always just call everyone fat. I didn't actually think this person was fat, but I called the person fat and they got really, really offended. The person wasn't fat, and that's what was so weird to me, for them to be offended by me saying that they were fat, because it's like, you're not fat, so why would you be offended by me calling you fat? But they were. And as a result, maybe they used to be, but like they weren't fat, and I called them fat, like, and it should have been obvious to everyone this person's not fat, so he couldn't have been serious. And I call everyone fat, like it just was. It was, but whatever. It didn't land well, and then I ended up having a literal physical fight over that. Or recently, I was like sitting there with my cousins, and we were all sitting around the table, and we're like looking at the Onion and looking at all these various jokes, and I showed them a skit about it was called it was like supposedly a pedophile, and he was telling parents how to avoid like having your kids look tempting or whatever the freak it was, it was gross. And that joke, like, we had been laughing at other Onion stuff, and then I played that one, not a single person laughed, and then one of my cousin was just like, yeah, that's, you know, I have kids. This is not funny at all. This is just disgusting. And it was just like, God. So first I'd won like with like 3 different skits that I had showed them and they found really funny. And then I just dropped the ball entirely there. And that was not funny. Right. And it's like, you know, it's edgy humor. What can you do? Right. You loved the first edginess. This was just too much. Right. Or maybe you're really sensitive about kids. I don't know. It's a risk. It's always a risk. And it's not entirely up to the audience. If this video, you know, the video had a bunch of funny views, a bunch of views. Like, it's obviously made by The Onion. It's obviously humorous to some people, the people that wrote it, and myself. So I didn't apologize there. Like, oh, I'm sorry that I offended you. Instead, it was just like, okay, I see that our sense of humor doesn't align. But it's going to be subjective, right? If it was my own original joke and it really offended them, then I could see them being really, really, you know, offended by that. You know, it's just, it's subjective.
Well,
it's subjective.
But we're kind of dealing with this issue.
No,
we're kind of dealing with this issue with Dave Chappelle right now. So a bunch of people literally show up to his shows to get mad when everybody else in the crowd is laughing their asses off. But just certain people are not going to like these jokes. And it's not that he's not funny. It's not that he's not being considerate to a degree. But he feels everybody should be able to take the joke and nobody should be free from having to take a joke.
Yes. And that guy that rushed him on stage, who eventually got stomped on, that dude said he'd rushed him because of the fact that he got offended by some of the transphobic jokes that Dave Chappelle told. So to me, it's really, really, really crazy. Because again, and I think in Dave Chappelle's case, most of the time, the people who are offended by his jokes have not actually watched his special. Because I've never seen any person be willing to entertain it who actually watched any of the specials. Literally ever. Not once. So with that being said, I mean, I do get the idea, though, that, like, yes, you have to be responsible. And there's going to be some jokes that are just going to be too poor taste, right? Like, if you're going around a bunch of Jews and you're making certain Holocaust jokes, it's going to be pretty offensive. And you got to recognize some people might hold that way more personal. You go around Black people telling N-word jokes. You know, you might get hands put on you. You have to be, like, you recognize, write the checks that your body can cash, and you are taking a risk. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the risk is not worth it. Sometimes. I love edgy humor, but I just know sometimes it's like, I'm just going to go ahead and keep this to myself. Now, if you catch me off stream, no, I'm kidding. Kind
of. So one, this is a separate thing, and we'll have to argue this again sometime. Maybe we'll argue this with Destiny, because we can't get enough of this. But I hate the fact your construction about Black people compared to Jews, right? You said Jews might be more offended by a Nazi joke, okay, and then you said Black people might get more offended by N-word joke, okay, but Black people will commit violence, like that's a normal fucking thing to do. But we will fight on that. And
let me just explain really quickly to take just a second. Jews have a lot more power and influence and wealth in this country because they're white, and America has obviously done all that they can with reparations and stuff for them, as if we were the ones that put them in the freaking Holocaust, whereas Black people have never had the same amount of power and wealth and influence in this country. So it makes sense that Black people would probably be more willing to respond with violence because that's the type of power we have. People react within their power scope. Like a principal will react by expelling you, or so on and so forth. Black folks, we just have the ability to go ahead and
we might actually have to have a fucking fight on this, and because I know Destiny wouldn't accept that fucking argument, because that's a bullshit argument there. I don't accept it either because it's a bullshit argument. But like,
well, Prime, you're on YouTube sometimes, so you can just do a YouTube debate with Destiny, I guess.
Yeah, I know.
And Fnatic, I guess.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay. The where I was trying to get to with this is that, like, you showed those skits to your cousins, right? Those Onion skits, and it was funny. Until not funny. But for a different crowd, it would have been okay, right? Like, So is it that the jokes weren't funny, or is it that you did a poor job picking your target, right? So like, when is comedy not funny? If it's possible, let's say you got the worst comic in the world, and most of the world like says that this person is awful, right? But then this person still has 1 or 2 fans that laugh hysterically at their lame ass jokes, right?
Like Amy Schumer,
Andrew Dice Clay.
Is the Is the comedy not funny? Like, are the jokes not funny, or is it just like can we never actually tell that a joke is funny? Is anything objectively funny, and objectively not funny?
No.
Is that at all possible?
Nope.
Well, when it comes to comedians, it's all about, pushing boundaries. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to, take what is like normal parlance and then try and push the envelope just far enough that it's a little bit on the edge of what's uncomfortable. And that kind of tension there can be seen as humorous sometimes. But of course, sometimes you try and push the envelope, you accidentally rip it open, and then it's all fucked up. Remember the time, the place, and occasion when you're making these jokes, because the audience can be swayed by these things as well.
I don't think anything is objectively funny.
Land.
So then you can't say that
people.
Amy's humor is unfunny then.
The only thing, okay, maybe Amy Schumer is not objectively unfunny, although I would really ask anybody to show me a single funny joke she's ever told. There is someone who's objectively unfunny, I'd say, and that's Hannah Gadsby. It's wild. Listen to me. This is not me being like the person who's just I'm following Dave Chappelle, because he's the one that took that first shot where he said, like, I'm willing to have the talk if you guys admit that she's not funny. And I was like, I don't even know who this person is. Let me watch a skit. Let me watch just a stand-up of hers. And she was going on and on and on, and literally didn't tell a single joke. And I was like, what the freak is this? And then I was like, okay, it could be me. It could be me. So then I went and I took it to other people, to other females. Watch this.
Was she the one who did the Nanette thing?
Netflix?
I don't know. It was on Netflix. I don't remember. I can show you. If you guys,
I saw. I know that. I remember that one. And
yeah.
Fuck. I forget if I found it funny or.
I will find you I saw the very
comedy.
I typed in her name, and the very first clip I was like, I'm just gonna watch this and see if she's actually funny. And I'm telling you, she didn't tell a single joke. And then I showed it to other friends, and I'm like, okay, that don't know that Dave Chappelle said this, and they were like, wait, she's not telling jokes, she's just talking. And then I showed it to females, like maybe it's just a female thing, maybe it's and then they were just like, none of this is funny. And it was like, this has to be a laughing track. These aren't jokes. And before long, I finally came to the conclusion: no, she's not funny. She's not telling jokes. This is actually a mockery.
I felt
I think for the Netflix thing, I think it was purposely supposed to not be funny. I think that was the point. I think that's the cope, at least, but that was marketed for Netflix. It was to be anti-comedy.
I don't.
It has to be
anti-comedy.
I watched it. I watched the thing.
Cope, yeah.
I literally don't remember my experience with it, so I don't remember. I felt like I did laugh at some point. That
talking about her rape.
There was. No, but
her rape. She was talking about her
but she masked her rape
against her.
Yeah, and she masked that at first, right? And if I remember correctly, it was like that was like hidden in a joke, and then after that, she was like, "Hey, this is a thing that actually happened to me." I can't give you my honest opinion of it because I literally don't remember what my reaction was to that. But the reason why I watched it, and the only reason why I wasn't going to watch it originally, but there was a controversy around it, and people were saying that this was a big problem. So I watched it, and but I do remember my opinion was like didn't match everyone else's opinion. Like I didn't think it was like this horrible thing that people were talking about because it's super controversial. And I left with positive emotions, but I don't know if those were attached to like a funny outcome. I just don't remember. But like with the but okay.
Prime, would you be willing after this for us to just go ahead? It's like a 7-minute clip, maybe it's 10. It's really short for us just to watch that together, and then maybe I'm wrong because like again, comedy it depends on the person, and so maybe you'll find these jokes to be incredibly funny. I'm not sure. Let's give this a try. Would you be willing?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Even in the Netflix synopsis, it says that the Australian comedian Hannah Gadsby is taking an anti-comedy stance in her newest special. Yeah, so that's the cope from Netflix, that it's supposed to be anti-comedy. It wasn't supposed to be funny. It was just supposed to be like just
I don't know.
She's never been funny.
I don't know.
But it's listed with the comedians.
Well,
I feel like they're only doing that because she got called out. because they were like literally selling her as a comedian, like they did Amy Schumer, and doing what they can to prop up, you know, the white ones. And then afterwards, when people like called it out, like because Dave Chappelle pointed it out, and I mean, and then people were just like, yeah, this is really, really, really exceptionally bad. Then it's like, no, it's not meant to be funny, guys. And then that way you don't have to own up to the fact that yes, you guys have been trying to force feed us. The same thing they did with like Big Bang Theory, and I hate myself for this because this is another thing, just like the Steven Crowder effect.
Bullshit. It was not
that
funny.
Show was not funny,
was not
but
funny.
I thought it was. I thought it was very funny, and I used to watch it. And because I got by the laughing track, and I was watching it, and I was laughing at it. And then one day, I saw a video, and they were like, "Just here's Big Bang Theory without the laughing track," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is really, really, really bad." But I didn't know any better. Just like I thought Steven Crowder was really intelligent, and then I'm like, "Oh, he's really, really, really retarded." Same with Ben Shapiro. And so after these things, you get like this eye opener, this wake up, like, oh wow, and you can see that. But at the time, I didn't know any better. And the media really does push on you things that they'll say, or they'll push on you like, oh, like Scarlett Johansson has cakes, and you know she doesn't have like she doesn't. She just does not. I'm sorry, she don't got a donk at all, but the media has been lying to us. They do this to us all the time with white women and with things in general, with what's funny, with what's attractive, with what tastes good. Carl's Jr. is not good food. It's just doused in freaking sauces so that you don't realize that you're eating anus because it's awful. The patties are actually gross, and they do that to us on a regular basis. They're doing that to us on a regular basis. I'm sorry, Hannah Gadsby is not funny. Amy Schumer is not funny. And Seinfeld's overrated. And so my point being, they sell us these things and they're not that good. And I think that's one of those cases. I think you just got to go ahead and look at it. And I think we should do. I can't wait for us to do that. I can't wait for you to see it.
Okay. I mean, I will. I'll do it with you. Thank you, Bezo Depos for the 1,000 bits. Thank you, Waterkai for 100 bits. One more person.
This man accused me of being white.
This,
you said what happened?
Oh, this Bizo dude accused me of being white.
One more person we get started a hype train. So sub to the channel, give bits or give subs if you're enjoying the content so far. Helps us out a ton. When you do so, we support this community. When we support what we're trying to do, it allows me to grab these individuals who can have these talks, and like get pissed at each other all the goddamn time. So subs to the channel, give bits or give subs. New subs will have a 20% discount because it's September. So consider supporting the channel. It's a huge help when you do. You get app reviewing, you get emotes and all that good stuff. Okay, so okay, so I can't.
I just put it in the chat from the Netflix. It says Australian comic Hannah Gadsby reshapes standard stand-up by pairing punchlines of personal revelations on gender, sexuality, and childhood turmoil. It's just not supposed to be. Well, the cope is it's not supposed to be funny, but really it's just a shitty.
I think I did laugh. I think I did. I just can't remember. The Drakes. Thank
the
you
rape
for
joke
us
or at the childhood turmoil. Prime. What did you laugh at?
The jokes that, because I remember the joke, the trauma was hidden inside the jokes, right? And it's kind of basically what you do with comedy in general, right? A lot of people you talk to comics and they say like their original comedy especially is based on their own pain, right? Being bullied, right? Then you turn that into a comedy skit. And what she did was, rather than hiding that part, she made the joke, and then afterwards like, oh yeah, this is a thing that happened. So these things that you're laughing at, these are actually happened. And it was actually really fucking messed up. I remember, I don't remember enough to say how I reacted. I think I laughed at it. And I remember thinking, this is not the insult to comedy that everyone else is fucking saying it was. Miss Fanatic, thank you for being so kind and reset for 22 months. Off the count of you. Drakes, thank you for gifting a sub to Repo Man. We're in a level 1 hype train, 70% down, 30% left. 3.5 minutes to the clock. Can we get to level 2 hype train? Help out the channel that way. Sub to channel like this. We're all Sensei. Gifting 2 subs. Yeah. Thank you for giving a subs to Taking L's, and to Bukirati, who was here in the channel the other day. Thank you so much for helping us out. We're at level 2 hype train. Can we get to level 3 hype train? Support the channel. Sub to channel. Get bits or get subs. Or sub to channel yourself to help us out. Means a ton. And that's how we can do all these great things. So I'll say one thing. I had a situation, and I'll let you guys go because we're way over time. But the stream isn't ending. We're gonna do an open panel. I was in college. I was in college, and a comedian came over, and right now I'm blanking on her name. It was an Asian female comedian, not Wong, the Allison Wong, not her. This is an older one. If you saw her, you'd recognize her.
Aquafina?
Not Aquafina. She's a comedian. What? No.
That's she was.
I have no idea.
Yo.
Yeah, she's definitely considered a comedian, even though she's awful and very anti-black. But yes.
Oh! You mean that one from? She was in the movie. Yeah, she was funny there. Whatever. I don't
She
know.
was. But I still very anti-black.
Shang-Chi. Yeah. But whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. This is other comedian. I don't remember what her name was. It doesn't matter, right? She came to my college, and they all gathered us into like one of our local arenas, and it was like, oh, this comedian who we had all heard of because she had a fairly large name. She's gonna come there. She's gonna do this comedy skit, right? This woman sat us down for like 2 fucking hours, and she maybe said like one, maybe 2 jokes, but like she did this whole spiel on like anti-LGBT like how anti-LGBT propaganda hurts people, right? She basically it was a thing supporting the LGBT community, and that's fine if you want to give a lecture about here's how we should support LGBT community, but do not advertise this as a show. She in that case, this is what you guys were talking about. In that case, she didn't make jokes. It was just her going on and giving us this fucking lecture about we should be good to the gays, right? And you should. That's something we should do. Mm-hmm. But that was false pretenses, and they got hundreds of us in this fucking auditorium for no fucking reason. It was
scolded.
It was because of that. That's before we had that term. That's what I think that happened to us, and I fucking hated it. That was
you had to make bullshit. A word for it. That's how bad it was.
It was so bad. But okay. Margaret Cho. It was Margaret Cho. Oh. Stephen Damas in chat. He was like, I bet it was Margaret Cho. It was Margaret Cho. Thank you.
I forgot about her.
You nailed the head. It was Margaret Cho. It was bullshit. I was so mad. Why are we here? And everyone was because it's a comedian, right? And she I've seen her be funny in the past, right? And so everyone is waiting for a joke, still waiting, and they jump on everything they say, oh, maybe this is supposed to be funny, and then they do that awkward chuckle. That was fucking 2 hours of that shit. It was 2 hours of that.
Hey, Prime, were you spending the entire time looking around as anyone did the awkward chuckle? What? Where's the what?
What is this?
Where's the joke? I didn't hear a joke. What is the
joke?
You feel like you're in the Twilight Zone. How is anyone finding this funny? That's how I would feel at an Amy Schumer concert for sure. I'd be looking around nigga, no, you're not laughing at that. No, you laughing right there. Tell me, what was the joke? Yeah, no, I'd be that person. I'd be that person for sure.
If I see Amy Schumer in a movie, I'd try not to watch it.
I'm not watching it. 100%. But also, in all fairness, I don't watch the Rock movies either. Because I know that they're not going to be good movies. He's a cool guy. I like him.
The Rock movies are just entertainment. That's it. It's just entertainment. That's it. You have to walk in and go, this is not going to be a good cinematography.
It's just to turn all your brain off film.
It is literally just
you have to turn your brain fully off.
Okay.
It is hopes for Black Adam. I got hopes.
So do I.
Me too.
Yeah, Black Adam might be actually good.
Especially since Shazam was so good. That was a funny movie. It was a good fun. Anyway, so thanks all for all of you for this. We are going to continue to our open walk on panel. All right, so stick around. The content does end. We still have more content coming for you. We'll be doing open walk on panel where you sitting at home may join in. So stick around for that. We'll gather more people. We'll have a different group of individuals. But I'm going to give an outro to all these amazing guests. So, if you haven't done so yet, hit that follow button. Make sure notifications are on so you know I'm going live. Expert social and chat for our social media. Tweet at us, not tweet at us, don't tweet at me. Like follow me on Twitter. On Discord we'll have a welcome panel where you can be a part of. Jump into our Discord, TikTok, and then YouTube, which is where you'll find the VODs. Like, comment, and subscribe. All right, I'll give an outro to these amazing, great people. Let's start with Smooth, who is like dancing. I don't know what's going on with your shoulders, buddy. I don't know what you were doing.
Having a good time.
No, it's okay. You were grooving. Don't let me stop you. But
oh man, I know. I'm just goofing around down here. So listen, I'm Smooth. I have a podcast. It's called Homeroom with Smooth. And you can find me on there. You can find me on Twitch, Homeroom with Smooth. I enjoyed this panel. I'll try to be here every time that I can because I enjoy this. I love this. I like arguing with people. I didn't get to yell at Bam this time, which was unfortunate. I found myself agreeing with him sometimes, which really just hurt my soul. It hurt my soul. Like it made me. It honestly brought on like this deep depression, like that I wasn't able to yell at Bam. You know, I also didn't have the other guy that I normally yell at. I can't remember his name, but he always said something like outlandish. It'd be funny though because he'd be dead serious. That's the part that be getting me. Like every time he's on, like I die laughing because you're doing this. Like, how are you this much of a Republican parrot? Like, how can you always say that all their talking points? Like, he's just that good. He's that good. I'm kidding. This is not good. But anyway, I'm Smooth. I love this panel. Y'all stick around for the open walk on. I'll probably be there at the start because I kind of want to yell at Dream. I want to yell at Dream.
Oh yeah, our boy team looks like he wants to come through, so we're happy to have him. Water Kai, thanks for stopping by as always, Water Kai. Like you're a fine addition. I keep telling you that because you are. Really appreciate you. You always have something poignant, right? And oftentimes I don't. You have a way of talking in which like you'll structure something in a way I'm not expecting. So I'm like, this is a bad take, and then I wait and listen to you. I'm like, oh, it's actually a really, a really clear perspective, really good take. But anyway, that's just something I do. Thanks for being here.
I'm only here because you invited me to the open. I mean, this is my first time actually getting into conversational spaces, so maybe I don't form things the way people do traditionally around here. So I'm still working on it, but I really appreciate the ability to get on here, have a great exchange of ideas, and rub elbows with giants in the field like Fnatic and Prime. I don't even feel like I should be here.
I'm not sure anyone would call me a giant in the field, but it's okay. Right. But
you're still the only one out here doing this. I mean, Dylan decided to leave the space, so I mean, yeah.
I'm really glad, and I'm really happy that happened. I mean, especially after what he tried to do to Prime. I think, yeah, that space should have actually rightfully been his from originally. It was his originally, and I think it should be rightfully returned to him. So I'm kind of grateful for that.
I will leave that hot potato alone. I'm gonna leave that in the skillet. All right. So Water Kai, thank you for the kind words. And you don't have to change.
Primer for life.
Like I just you know, like in this is a space that gets people to react immediately, right? So I'm used to reacting immediately to things, but like with you, I try to take my time and really listen to what you're trying to say to me, and then more often than not, I'm like, wow, that's a really good point. Just putting that out there, so it's a compliment.
I appreciate it.
Let's go to our friend Isle. Thanks for stopping by and being as contrarian as you always are. Much appreciated. Isle, tell them what about yourself.
No, I try to speak truth to power. I try to say what's on my mind. I don't let people stop me. For the most part, you know, since Move decided to call D10 Dream out, I'm gonna call someone out. I'm gonna call RYYZN. I'm gonna call Cap is Ghost on. They've been ducking me, and so I'm gonna call them out real quick. They need to come up on the open panel so I can talk about, let them know how dumb they are. But other than that, yeah, you know, for my final thoughts on the panel, you know, once again, my condolences out to all those grieving today in the Commonwealth and in the United Kingdom for Queen Elizabeth II. You know, came too soon. It was totally unexpected. You know, I think some people need to be more careful with their kids and don't let them get groomed in Hollywood, or Hollyweird as it's called. And the what was the first topic again that we oh yeah, women should not be expected to stay by their man when like things like infidelity or something, or like deviancy or degeneracy happen. But I think it's heroic when they do, because men are typically expected to be there for the women's honor. So I think that when the women step up in that role, when they're not really historically supposed to be in, and they step up for their man's honor and they stay by their man, I think that is heroic in and of itself, just by that reciprocal nature of it. And I think that should be something that should be celebrated. But it's not deserved, obviously, when the man fucks up, and it shouldn't be expected. But I think when it does happen, it should be celebrated, and as the woman's virtue, I think.
So much. Okay. Last but not least, right? The illustrious Mr. Fanatic. Thank you for coming through, elevating conversations like you usually do, Fanatic. And it's always much appreciated. You can spend your time in all kinds of places doing all kinds of things. Maybe with your lady, right? But you spend time with us, and I honestly am always so appreciative of it. And I never take it for granted. So thank you so much for stopping by.
Man, sincerely, I don't know. Y'all are giving me compliments. This is making me feel good about myself. In a good way. Like legitimately. Like freak. I'm always super duper happy to be here. I'm more likely to miss the Monday panels than I am the all nigga panel, because I like talking to other Black voices. I really appreciate you for elevating Black voices in this space. I think that was like a huge deal, and it sucks that people are trying to take that from you, but I appreciate that it's still here. I appreciate being on the panel. I also didn't find myself really yelling with Bam very much. But what I've learned is now what I do is when Bam starts doing the Bam thing, I just stop engaging. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna waste my energy and get like emotionally invested here. I'm just gonna go ahead and stop, move on, and we'll just then just let the points die rather than
which I am glad myself. You're gonna take that same energy to Azzy.
Azzy's crazy.
Azzy built different, bro.
Right? Crazy. Okay. To this day, we still don't know he just still doesn't know about if when you're enslaved that you can't consent to sex. He still doesn't know that. Azzy's crazy.
Yo, what? That's what he said.
My man Fanatic is gonna bury the hatchet with Azzy. He's saying the Prime, invite him back on the show. Let's have him here, right?
Invite him. Invite him. Go ahead, invite him. I'm gonna try my best.
Not consent.
Okay.
I will try my best with Azzy, even though I'm not a huge fan, but it's okay. I will do better. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to be an adult and still have a conversation.
Okay.
I can't though. Lord have mercy. But you can follow me at twitch.tv/Mr. Fanatic. Thank you so much, Esarl, for free 500 bits and the gifted sub. And all the people who actually watch these panels, and everybody who did the hype train with Prime, and all that stuff. Look out for my YouTube. Sometimes I take small excerpts from the panels and upload them. I think I recently uploaded one where Bam got bodied, and then I uploaded one, another. It's one of my latest 3 videos, I want to say. And then, I'm going to be uploading one today as well. But follow me there, Instagram, Mr. Fanatic, and all of that.
Yeah, thank you so much. And look, I love to see emotional growth. Right, and I love to take advantage of it.
That's what you did.
And quarter him. But it's literally nothing but love here, and that's why I love All Black Everything. It's my favorite thing that we put on. More of you should watch it. More of you should come here and watch this thing because it's a lot of 100%. Fun. It's like the best thing that we put on. Even on slow days when like this, we only had 6 people here. We still had a great show. So just putting that out there. Check us out. Okay, we are going to continue on with the Open Walk On panel. Anyone here can join us, but if not, that's okay. Thanks for your time, your energy, your knowledge, and your passion, my community. I know they appreciate it just as much as I do. Have a good one. Thank you. And Fanatic, show up so we can do the thing.
All right, I will. I got to talk to my girl first, so it'll be like maybe 45 minutes.
Gotcha. All right, he's got sexed. Bye.
Still.